Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. So today I got a pretty interesting topic for you guys. The topic is, did Giannis Antetokounmpo take a direct shot at Kevin Durant and LeBron James? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. So we're fresh off of the NBA Finals. I watched Game 6. It was a fantastic game. Giannis Antetokounmpo played the best game of his NBA career, but he made some comments at the end of the game in the press conference that really inspired me to do this. Inspired us to produce this video today. So let me get into it here. So super teams are nothing new in the NBA. It's something that has been there for quite some time, right? If we go back to the 80s and mid 80s, late 80s, super teams are always there. You can think of the Larry Bird's Boston Celtics. They had a super team. If you think of players like Larry Bird, he's in the Hall of Fame. You have Kevin McHale. You have Robert Parrish, right? These were people that were playing together at the same time in their primes on the same team. Those Boston Celtics were a super team. Then you can think of the Showtime Lakers, right? They were a super team. You think of Magic Johnson. You think of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You think of James Worthy. All of these guys were super teams, and they were very, very good when they were all playing together. And if you look at all of these players, all of these players have been inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame already. So it's worth saying that super teams have been here for 3-4 decades already. That's important to put that into context. However, I think one of the biggest differences is this, though. If you go back and look at those super teams, those players were usually drafted by the team. James Worthy was drafted by the Lakers. Magic Johnson was drafted by the Lakers. Larry Bird was drafted by the Celtics, right? And of course, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar joined the Celtics. But for the most part, a lot of these teams constructed these super teams through the draft, and sometimes here and there you would have a trade. Then if you fast forward to the modern day, you think of the last really where the super teams really started reappearing in this new generation. You think of the Boston Celtics with Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, right? That was a super team. The difference there was these guys decided to join each other and join forces. Then you think of the next generation that came after them was the Miami Heat, right? You think of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, all of these guys joining together. If you guys remember, Dwayne Wade had already won a title. He was already in a regular season. He was already a Finals MVP, and he already had a scoring title before he joined LeBron James. That was a legitimate super team. I think at one point in that season, they won 22 games in a row. Right? That was a legitimate super team, and that's the reason why they fell. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. That was the reason they were so confident in their abilities, given the amount of talent that they stacked together, that they could possibly win 5, 6, 7 championships, right? So you have that example there. Then you fast forward and you think of the Golden State Warriors. Now, I do not believe that the Golden State Warriors with Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry and Dre, even though they have the greatest record of all time, that lost. That cannot be you can't be the greatest team of all time that lost. The Chicago Bulls were the greatest team of all time, the 72-10 Bulls, because they won. So I never bought into that. I thought it was just something people like to use as a narrative tool. But when KD joined that team, that was a super team. Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, that is a super team. And then of course you have Draymond Green. And then now the modern day, if you are the present day rather, you think of you think of the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving, right? This is the current super team. So after the finals, Giannis Antetokounmpo was asked a question about, his journey to win a championship. I want you guys to take a listen to what Giannis Antetokounmpo had to say about winning his title. Take a listen.
When you re-signed your contract, your extension, I'm sure it was with this in mind. Well, could you imagine it happening for you the way that it's happened?
No, man. I couldn't live. There was a job that had to be finished. I feel like the Bible did not pay us justice. Give credit to Miami Heat. They played great, but it did not pay the justice. Like everybody was feeling homesick. We're a family-oriented team. Wanted to see our families, but coming back, I was like, this is my city. They trust me. They believed in me. They believed in us. Even when we were lost, the city still was like on our side. And obviously, I wanted to get the job done. But that's my stubborn side. Like, it's easy to go somewhere and go and win a championship with somebody else. It's easy. I could go. I don't want to put anybody in the spot, but I could go to a super team and just do my part and win a championship. Still won. But this is the hard way to do it, and this is the way I chose to do it, and we did it.
Now, in that soundbite, Giannis Antetokounmpo made some very definitive statements, and I think he was taking a shot at some player. You can call it any way you say it. Anyway, you can call it how we can parse our words here, but I think I think we all knew the players he was talking to. Basically, what Giannis said was this. He said, "Listen, I did it the hard way." He said it's easy to go out there and join a super team and win a title. It's easy. He goes, anybody can do it, but to do it this way, to go through the process and win it on your own, this is the way you do it. And then he even slammed the table. He says, "This is how you do it." The moment he made those statements, I immediately thought to myself, wait a minute. Who is he talking about here? Because if you're talking about super teams, well, there are only a few players in the NBA that have been on a super team currently. Those two players that come to mind are Kevin Durant and LeBron James. These are the two players that come to mind. Most recently, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant assembled a super team in Brooklyn with James Harden and Kyrie Irving. That is a super team. Is he talking about them? Is he talking about LeBron when he made the team with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh? Because those are the last two legitimate super teams where you have 3 top 15 players playing on the same team. That to me constitutes a super team. Now, to be fair, I think a lot of these players were reacting to things that other players were doing. Some people can say that the reason the Miami Heat formed that super team was a reactionary move because they felt that probably the Boston Celtics were too stacked with Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo, that they were just too difficult to beat, that they needed more help. So some people can make the argument, listen, this was a reactionary move, right? So you can have that argument. Then you have KD. KD probably joined because he said, listen, man, I want to join the best team and give myself a shot, right? You can make an argument that a lot of these players were doing it because, one, they were reacting to things, and two, they were like, well, if this guy did it, KD was probably like, well, if LeBron did it, then it should be perfectly fine for me to do it. There's also that argument there, right, that you can say, okay, this is the reason why. Now, let me quickly say this because I know there are going to be some people in the comments. I'm not in any way taking any shot at any of these players, right? LeBron is in my top 5 of all time. I'm not saying Giannis Antetokounmpo is better than LeBron James because I know there's some people out there that like all of this, that's not what I'm saying here. However, I do think, though, that Giannis makes a point, and I think he was kind of taking a direct shot at these guys. Because who else is he talking about? What other super teams have there been? Is he talking about the Showtime Lakers? Or is he talking about the Boston Celtics of the mid-late 80s? Is that who he's talking about? Heck no, that's not who he's talking about. He's talking about current super teams. And I think he's also giving you his psyche because he said, I'm a stubborn guy and I like to, do things my way and went through. So I think he's taking a shot. Now, obviously, this is how I interpret it. Maybe some people are going to interpret things differently, but this is certainly how I see it. And some people say, well, Larry Bird and these guys, there's a fundamental difference. Those guys, as I said, did it through the draft, whereas the former super teams, it was just players basically ganging up and say, let's go play with this guy, let's go play with that guy. A lot of that happened, right? Now, there are few people out there, there are few basketball players that have won a title without a super team. I think that LeBron, well, I'm not sure if you could say when LeBron won his title in Cleveland because he did have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. So those are 2 top 15 players. You could consider that a super team in a way. You probably could. Yeah, you probably could. But if I'm thinking of players that have done it without super teams, I'm thinking of Kobe Bryant. His second three-peat, when he won back-to-back titles, he won with Pau Gasol and Andrew Bynum. Does Andrew Bynum look like he's going into the Hall of Fame? Pau Gasol may get into the Hall of Fame, and that's one Hall of Famer, right? So you have him. You can say Ron Artest was a part of that second title, but the one before that, Ron Artest was not there. It was with Trevor Ariza. So you have Kobe, you have Jordan, of course, with his first three-peat. It wasn't a super team. It was him and Pippen and a bunch of great role players. You have Jordan. You have Kawhi Leonard with the Toronto Raptors, right? Kawhi Leonard with the Toronto Raptors won a title without a super team. You have him, right? These are some of the examples I can think of. So these are my thoughts, and I'm very curious to see what people are going to think about Giannis Antetokounmpo's comments. I'm sure it's going to spark some debates out there. So I said, hey, what the heck? Why not produce this video and let's see what people think? So please let me know what you think about Giannis's comments about super teams, and do you think he was taking a direct shot at Kevin Durant and LeBron James? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.